Hi everyone! So I just got done with work and I look like a mess, but this week's been crazy and I really needed to film this video. Well, wanted to film this video. This is going to be my week 2.5, week 2.5 seedling update, and I'm also going to show you my fertilizer that I'm going to be using on my plants. So let me show you my seedlings and how they're looking right now, and then I will show you the fertilizer. Alright, so I was able to transplant all my tomatoes. And I only lost one. So that's the good news. They are doing awesome. These are my Chadwicks. I love the way that one's looking. And this one is really big too. And actually I have to add more soil around him soon. That one needs to be watered, but that's okay. Over here I have some Roma tomatoes. These are the New Yorkers, the Tommy Toe, cherry tomatoes. These are my cucumbers. My cucumbers are looking just amazing. These are my Homestead tomatoes, which they're struggling just a little bit. I think they were still a little young when I transplanted them, but that's okay. And my marigolds, which that one is doing amazing. Here's my little Homestead tomato that I lost, but like I said, that's okay. So these are all of my tomatoes and cucumbers right now. And I'll show you my peppers. Alright, so here are the peppers. These are all banana peppers. And they were taking forever to germinate. So I thought maybe they wouldn't. But I'm so happy they have, because they are literally my favorite pepper to eat ever. That one's a little tiny guy. Here are all my jalapeno peppers. They've gone crazy. I'm gonna have to transplant those soon. Back here are all my Anaheim peppers. And right here are all my bell peppers. And then here are some watermelon that I started. Obviously they haven't germinated or sprouted yet, because they're still really new. But let me show you how I'm going to fertilize my transplanted plants, and yeah. Alrighty. So in this bucket down here, I have my water and my fertilizer. And I've decided to use fish fertilizer, Alaska fish fertilizer. It's a 5:1 ratio, which just tells you how much nitrogen, phosphorus, and I cannot remember the third one, but the other important ingredient: nitrogen, phosphate, and soluble potash. Not sure exactly what that is. And you're supposed to do 2 tablespoons per gallon of water for vegetables, but because these are still only seedlings, I halved it. And so this ratio, I'm telling you, man, it's been a long day. This ratio in this bucket is equivalent to only 1 tablespoon per gallon, because I don't want to burn my roots. Now also, I'm only going to be taking this baby Tylenol thing. It's 500 milliliters, and I'm going to be filling it up twice and putting it at the base of each transplant. So let me go ahead and show you how we're doing that. Alright, so here's my little Chadwick, and I have this full of water. So I'm just going to take this and put it at the very root, or base. Specifically with tomatoes, because they're a rooting vegetable, which means like these little fuzzy things, those are all little roots. So if you put dirt around them, they'll create roots. So with tomatoes, it's not quite like, you don't need to get it down in the dirt as much, because no matter where it is on the stem, it'll always capture the fertilizer. So I'm going to do that for every plant, and I'll see you in a minute. Alright guys, so I'm all done, and I just wanted to share a couple tips that I've learned about transplanting and fertilizing from just watching YouTube videos and reading some books and Instagram posts and stuff, a couple of which I did not follow when I transplanted my cucumbers, and so I ended up having to retransplant my cucumbers. However, I did do it with my tomatoes, and they are just thriving. My cucumbers had no side effects, they were fine, but I planted them at the top of the cup, so when they started growing, they were getting really, really leggy. So tip number 1 is to transplant your plants halfway down. So whether you're using a plastic cup like me or another container, don't transplant them at the very top. Transplant them about halfway, so that way as they grow taller, you can add dirt around them and help stabilize them. Also, like I said, tomatoes are rooting plants. I think that's what they call them. So basically that means that if you put dirt around their stem, they will grow more roots. So actually putting more dirt around their stem as they get bigger is beneficial because they're able to establish more roots and have a more intricate root system, which they're able to get water and nutrients from. So doing it that way is actually really, really helpful for tomatoes specifically. Also, when transplanting, make sure that you fill your cups up or your containers up to where you're gonna need them before you start transplanting. So if you're transplanting like 10 tomatoes, make sure you have all 10 containers full of soil. Brain fart. It's been, like I said, it's been a long day. I just worked 8 to 2. It's Easter Sunday. I have homework to do still, but I really wanted to get this done. So number 2 is to make sure that you have all of your pots pre-soiled before you even start messing with your plants, because roots don't like sunlight. So the quicker that you can get this done, the better. Or do it in kind of a dark place so that the roots aren't bothered. Number 3 is to make sure that all of your new containers, the soil is completely wet. So go ahead and fill them with water, make sure that the water's running out the bottom, and then you're good to go. I didn't do this, and I had to water my plants so much. I was fearful of overwatering, but that's what the holes are there for, is for them to drain out. So don't be afraid of overwatering your seedlings while transplanting. The movement is going to cause them to need more water anyway. So for transplanting, I think that's it. Those are a couple of the things that I wish I would have done differently with my cucumbers. I did all that stuff with my tomatoes, just not with my cucumbers. And like I said, I had to re-transplant my cucumbers so that they were lower in the cup, which isn't a huge deal. They were fine. And like you can see in the video, they are doing amazing. But when it comes to fertilizing, you're supposed to do it either at dusk or at dawn. So either right as the sun is coming up or right as it's going down when you would normally water it. And that's because depending on what kind of fertilizer you're using, if the fertilizer gets onto the leaves, the sun can burn the plant. And that obviously makes it so that the plant can't take in as much sun or heat, and it can damage the plant. So making sure that you fertilize, I prefer at night because then you don't have to worry about it at all. But making sure that you fertilize during a colder part of the day, not at noon when it's 90 something degrees. And then another thing to remember about fertilizing plants is that you should do it approximately every third water. So if you're watering your plants every other day, then you need to plant or you need to fertilize on the third day. So the 6th day. You're starting day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're planning on days 2, 4, and 6. Hold on. 1 through 6, you're watering on days 2, 4, and 6. So that means that you should be fertilizing on day 6 with a water-soluble fertilizer. And then starting that rotation over again. So if your plants are needing more water, if they're getting bigger and they need more water, either A, water them more when you are watering them, or water them more frequently, which means you're going to have to fertilize more frequently. However, with seedlings, you don't want to use a full strength fertilizer, whether it's organic, chemical, whatever you're using, because if you're putting too much in there, you can easily overwhelm the plant, and it's not going to know what to do with it, so it's going to kind of get shocked. There's different ways you can look at it. Some people say that you can never have too many nutrients because the plant will only take what it can get. But for me, I'd rather be safe than sorry and only give it a little bit at a time so that it doesn't get overwhelmed, which is why I diluted my fertilizer to 1 tablespoon per gallon instead of 2 tablespoons per gallon, because I don't want my seedlings getting overwhelmed. They're only 2 weeks old, well, 2.5. So once they're more mature, about a month old, then I probably will use the full strength fertilizer on them. I chose to go organic, and I chose to go with the Alaska Fish fertilizer because it's not going to burn my plants. Obviously, you can go with whatever fertilizer works with you. There's slow release fertilizers, which are kind of like, your manures, or your powders or whatever. They go in the soil. I'll use those once I plant outside. And then you have your fast releasing fertilizers, which are your water soluble fertilizers. Like that. They come in water. They come in creams that you mix into your water. Or they come in like little Miracle-Gro tubes that you just stick into the soil. You stick it into the soil where your plants are in, and it slowly releases the fertilizer as you need it. If you guys have any questions, please comment below, or let me know how you fertilize your seedlings or transplant your seedlings, because I'd love to add more tips and tricks if I can. And I know that this video was kind of bits and pieces of weird crappiness, honestly, but I really wanted to make sure that I did my week 2.5 seedling update so that you guys can see the progress that I'm making. And I hope you guys enjoyed this crazy mess. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!